Hi, I'm Michael Fraughton from the Violin Shop at Riverton Music, and if you have just purchased a violin, I can give you a little advice on what to do with it. I have here a violin case with a violin bow and a shoulder pad on the side. The violin, I recommend having some sort of cover over it. Our instruments, some of them come with what we call a blanket, some of them don't. If it doesn't come with one, you can use like an old hand towel or something like that. The most common broken item on a violin that I see coming into the shop are broken bridges. And they oftentimes break inside of cases. They can rattle around inside of the cases and bump the top, and they can often be easily broken. This case has a suspension system, so it typically prevents that sort of thing. But do take care of your violin while it's in the case. If you have a shoulder pad, keep it in the large pocket on the case. Not every case has a large pocket. If it doesn't, you can sometimes buy a little pocket that hangs from the case handle. When you have your violin and you want to tune it up, the strings are G, D, A, and E. You can get a pitch pipe which has the pitch of every string, and I don't normally recommend that beginners tune their violins, but it is possible to do it, especially with the help of a teacher or an adult, a parent. But when you tune it, don't tune it over the pitch of the string, just tune it up to the pitch of the string. We have another video online with more detail on how to tune the violin, so you can take a look at that. But it's G, D, A, E, from the lowest pitch to the highest, at least on violin. If you have a shoulder pad that you're putting on, the low part, the part that will sit closest to the instrument once it's clipped on, will go under the chin rest. It'll be just opposite of the chin rest. You can simply put it on just like that. And then it should help you hold the violin without really needing to support the neck. With the bow, first of all, I would recommend that you do not touch the bow hair, because the bow hair has rosin on it, and rosin is kind of sticky, but the bow hair picks up oils from the fingers, and it makes it so that the bow doesn't take the rosin very well. When you tighten the bow, you turn this little eyelet here, and you want about as much distance here as maybe your pinky will fit in, or perhaps the closest point may be a pencil or a pen. That's about all the more you'd need to tighten it. When you loosen it, you want to loosen it so that the hair is pretty close to touching the stick of the bow. I'll tighten it back up because I'm going to put some rosin and show you how to rosin your bow. Particularly if you have one of these kits. You can buy rosin separately, or it comes in some of the kits that we sell. These are violin and viola care kits, and they do come with rosin. Otherwise, you can buy rosin separately. This is a cake of rosin. As you can maybe see in the video, it's fairly shiny on top. That's not a problem. A lot of people scratch up the top to get it to take to the bow hair better. And actually that doesn't really make a difference. If the bow has no rosin on it, the rosin, as I say, is somewhat sticky, and if it has no rosin on it, it'll have trouble sticking even to the other rosin. But if it has rosin on it, it'll take that shiny bit off pretty quick. And it just goes as normal rosin. Now, you don't want to rosin it much. You want to rosin it enough that it feels like it's got a little bit of rosin. You can feel just a little resistance. And you want it to be rosined well enough that it'll play. But that's about it. You don't want to rosin too much. You don't need to rosin again until it feels like it's starting to get just a little bit slippery. If it feels like it's getting too slippery and it won't take rosin, it might mean that you need a rehair or something's on the bow hair. You can take it to your teacher or to a violin shop, and they can help you determine what exactly you need if that's the case. With the violin itself, the kit also comes with polish and a microfiber cloth. In the case of a cello kit, it also comes with this item here. We call it a rock stock. And what you do with that is you extend your end pin out of the bottom of the cello, instead of just sitting on, say, a hard floor, a wood floor, or a ceramic floor, you put this rubber pad down, and there's a little hole in the middle, and that's where the end pin from the cello will sit, and that'll keep it from sliding around the floor. Other than that, you have the rosin, you have polish and a cloth, very much like the violin kit. Typically, I recommend most often that you just wipe rosin dust off of the violin. As you play, it leaves this sort of dust that can become a thick film, and it can fuse with the varnish. If it fuses with the varnish, it can be a little tricky to get off. That becomes something of a shop affair. But you can typically just gently, and especially very gently around the bridge, just run the cloth around it to wipe that dust away. It's very, very simple. The bridge has a lot of string pressure pushing down on it, so be very careful around that bridge. If you knock it over, it can damage the top of the instrument and it can break the bridge. It's very, very common that that will happen. You can use the microfiber cloth for cleaning the violin with the polish, or typically what I will do is I will use paper towels to actually polish the violin. And you shouldn't have to polish it very often. I recommend polishing maybe once a month if you use it fairly frequently. The most important thing is to dust it. Use a white cream polish. I don't recommend yellow polishes. They have a lot of oil in them, and if you have micro cracks and such, oil can get into the cracks and make it hard for them to get glued. But just put some polish on the cloth and wipe the polish around. I like to try and cover the whole top. If it feels like it's starting to run dry, you can put more polish on the cloth. I put a fair amount on the cloth, just like that. And I usually tap it out to smear it around a little bit. I wipe it around. Try not to really get it on the bridge and such, but I get it all over the top of the instrument. And then I fold it over so that the cloth is on a dry section, the paper towel or the cloth, and then I simply wipe the polish away, and it leaves it looking very, very nice. You can also do this with a microfiber cloth. It's a very, very good cleaning cloth for doing this sort of thing. If you don't have, well, you should have easy access to microfiber cloths. You can purchase them either in a music store or even at an auto supply store. But oftentimes I will finish off with a microfiber cloth and just give it a very nice little sheen. That's probably the most economical way of doing it. That's basically how you polish your violin. Aside from that, I would say just be very careful with the instrument. Bumping it is, of course, not a good thing to let have happen to it, so don't leave your violin sitting out and around. Keep it inside of the case, keep it latched up. Cases can fall over and fall open and land on top of instruments. I actually had that happen to me once when I was young. Came out lucky, it didn't break my violin, but it frequently ends up in expensive repairs. Remember to put your shoulder pad inside of the case in the big pocket, otherwise it will rub against your violin and it can damage various spots. And just basic logic, you can figure out an awful lot about how to take care of your violin by not bumping it, not jamming it into things, no sword fighting with your bow, that sort of thing. So thank you very much.